Grand Rising fam. So today I just want to talk about the healing journey, not just on the physical level, but on all the levels. I feel like this is the path that somehow I've actually started, and I didn't really realize that I was on it, but I've been on it for almost my entire life. Like starting with the physical, that was like the first step. And then it started seeing that the physical, the mental, and the spiritual is all, it's not separate, it's actually all layered on top of each other. So you can't really heal one without going through all of them. And like that's what I noticed a lot when I was doing my cleansing. So I'm standing in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, that's what I noticed when I was doing my cleansing, that when I was cleansing my, let's say, liver, a lot of emotional things were coming up, and I feel that this healing path, well, for me anyway, it's from my understanding, which is just subjected to myself, it's the only path. Because what I mean is when we heal like one thing, we can actually start unraveling all these patterns and loops that we are replaying, whether we constantly have the same thoughts over and over and over again. The only way to get out of it is to heal that part and go to the root and see, why is this happening? And same with the physical conditions. If I keep injuring my shoulder, if I keep having allergies coming up over and over again, just living inside that loop and that cycle, that's not really living. So it's about going down to the root cause and finding, well, what's the cause of these allergies? Like for me, when I had allergies my entire life, literally my entire life, I was having to take those Claritine, Zyrtec, those pills every single day. And I was just accepting that as my fact of life. And then naturally, the world, like it's a bit of a long story I won't go into today, but naturally liver flushing came into my life, and I started doing liver flushing, and then I was like, oh shit, I did one. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, well, I could breathe through my nose, I'm not sneezing. And this is the first time in years where, because before every single morning I was waking up and I was having sniffles, sneezing, and it wasn't always bad, but it was always there, and I'd always be having to clear out my nose for the first 5-10 minutes of the day. And then all of a sudden it was gone. This was last year in December. And then now it is, it's March, so about 3.5 months later. And then I just noticed like 3-4 days ago, I've been noticing some allergies coming back. And I'm like, okay, now I know that's a sign that the liver is starting to get congested and it needs a bit of love, a bit of flushing. So it's about doing that. And you don't just heal once and then just go off and have to go off and just live your life. Sometimes you deal with a problem, but it can pop back up, and that's when you got to deal with it again. So that's why I'm going back to that. And then you just keep learning more and more, and it's so exciting, and you can tackle it from like all angles. Like for me, I like to go from kind of the outside in, but also the inside out sometimes, but the outside in by doing the physical things and allowing that to bring up things, and then whatever it brings up inside, sitting with that, and just whatever that stuff brings up, just being with that. Other people like to just sit and meditate, and then kind of they could probably heal their body just from sitting there and meditating, which is pretty cool, but I've never had experience doing that. And something else that I've noticed is I've had like this, every time I get back into training hard, like doing jiu-jitsu, going to the gym, and I start pursuing some kind of physical like aspiration and actually going hard, I keep getting these reoccurring injuries in my right shoulder and my left knee. And I looked into like a little bit what that means, and I think that the left knee is related to like stubbornness, and I could see that I get stuck in my ways. Like it's easy to get just stuck and become stubborn and be like, oh, what I'm doing is right, I'm always doing this. And then the right shoulder I actually haven't looked into yet, but it's like a rotator cuff kind of thing that every time I get back into training and I put my arm like too high, I can feel it just doesn't feel right. So it's making me just stop that. And one other thing that's been kind of tough is because for me, the physical outlet has always been like my medicine. like training. My entire life I've played sports, so training, moving, having some sort of physical goal that I can work towards, that's always been my like outlet and medicine in life. And then now every time I get into it, I'm like, it's life stopping me. So I feel like it's almost that like life or God is saying, man, you've been doing this your whole life, it's time you try a different path. Whereas like, because this way, like I know it works for me, but it's so comfortable and doing it. But basically it's saying, man, you can't just keep relying on what you know. You got to keep growing and evolving, because that's the nature of human condition. We need to keep growing and trying new things. We can't become complacent just because something works and doing it over and over again, because that's just not life affirming. And something else very exciting that I'm starting to learn about, it's just started coming. I never even thought about it before, and it never crossed my awareness. Then all of a sudden it's like parasites, and I was like, what are these parasites? Like I don't have parasites. Look at me. But yeah. So 2 months ago, I started learning more about parasites, and a lot of like listening to podcasts, reading articles about it and all that stuff, and been finding out that there's a high chance that everyone has got some type of parasite in them. Some are good, some are bad, but they're like kind of entities, and they control our thoughts, and they actually like shit inside us and create toxins, and they control our thoughts with like chemicals and all that stuff. And I've noticed that the last few full moons I've been really affected, like just feeling, I don't know, just not stable. And so I looked more into the parasites, and I've booked in for a cleanse next full moon, a parasite cleanse, and I'm just learning heaps about it. So prepare to see more videos on parasite cleansing, liver flushing, because that is one of the keys for me at the moment. But yeah, parasite cleansing could be a thing. And yeah, so the reason why I feel like I could possibly have parasites is because the full moon was affecting me a lot, and naturally for some reason in the evening, in the night, I get these like intense cravings for like sweet things and sugar. And like I've always enjoyed my desserts a bit, but these are like kind of intense. Like the thoughts are like, I'm sitting there doing a kirtan meditation, and then all of a sudden all I can think of is like this massive dessert bowl that I'm gonna eat when I go home. And I know I'm meant to be fasting, but it's like, it's almost impossible not to have it. I can just feel it being like, you gotta eat the dessert, Toby. You need to have the chocolate. You gotta have this. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to be strong. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But it's like, it just pulls me. And then even if I don't do it, I'll be lying in bed and it's just popping into my head pictures of all these things that I could be eating. And so that's one of them. And then the allergies, that could also be possibly, because it could be, I reckon, like my intuition's telling me it's all like interconnected. Like the allergies is because what I think the cause of allergies is the liver has become congested, so it's not doing its job properly. So the blood that's going around the body is not able to it's not really clean. It's not able to take away the toxins, the whatever, undigested proteins and fats and all that stuff. And so for me, the symptom manifests in my sinuses. And then that's why when I did the liver flush, it was like, boom, I could breathe again. And the parasites create toxins in your body because they are like eating on like the heavy metals and the sugar and everything. And then they're shitting out toxins into your body that your liver has to process. And your liver can do all this stuff like normal, but that said, every now and then it gets too much for it. It gets a bit backed up, and we gotta clean it. So maybe if I can get rid of the parasites, or some of them, then the burden on the liver will be better. And then it's just about learning the flow, like, so then my whole body can heal. Then I got fresh blood going around. Maybe my shoulder will heal faster, and then everything just keeps improving. But it's for sometimes like I can get really down on it when my physical health isn't like good, when I'm having problems, when I can't when problems are coming up, I can get really down on it. I'm like, man, I'm trying so hard, I'm doing all these things. But then I've started to see it now. It's like an opportunity. It's a really good opportunity in life for me to learn. I'm like, okay, you're having a problem. Toby, you've always been a problem solver, you've always loved this stuff, and now you get to do it in real time with your own body. And for me, this is just like OG Toby O stuff. Something happens to me and I just go deep into one subject and just like learn, research, go crazy about it, talk about it, try things out, find what works, and then talk about it. And I know this is good because I get fucking very, very excited whenever like something happens and I can like crack a code to something. I'll be like, dude, this works. You got to do butthole sunning. You got to do liver flushing. You got to do enemas. You got to get around. Like, it's just so much like cool things, and it often, almost every single time, it actually stems from a problem, like a health problem or something. And yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm gonna end the video now because it's good, but yeah, stay tuned because like I'm gonna keep sharing this kind of stuff. I'm just delving deep back into myself, healing, sharing, discovering more, and living life. But peace and love from Henley Beach.